Brooklyn, I have a message for you. Mr. Elimelech Schnitzler pled guilty today in State Supreme Court, and he got a sweetheart deal without 1 day in jail. Supposed to be years in jail. He put bleach in my eyes. He walked away. He changed his lawyer last time. His new lawyer is Mr. Izzy Fried, who still has the old connections in the DA's office, and I feel very hurt and intimidated. What message does this send to our community? Just keep on killing people, keep on harming people, keep on spitting in people's faces, keep on throwing bleach, take anybody in the street, make him blind on an eye. Don't worry about it. We still are Brooklyn. We are the Jewish power. We run the offices for the government. We change now from Mr. Charles Hines being the DA to Mr. Ken Thompson. But the office is still run by the Jewish people in Brooklyn. Political power, money power, voting power, and everything about it. When Mr. Thompson put in the liaison, a person, Mr. Wolf Sanders, I said on my hotline, it's a grave mistake. The man is politically connected with Mr. Dov Heiken, with all the rabbis. When he takes advice from Mr. Gary Schlesinger, he's from the Aaronites. I said, it's the same ownership with a different name. We're going to suffer. The children will suffer. In Brooklyn, they won't have any voice. We will be exactly like we were in Mr. Charles Hines' time. That's what it looks like what's going to happen. A few weeks ago, they fired Mr. Vachion's son. Vachion was a crook together with Mr. Hines, but interesting enough, his son was still there. So now they fired him. There are so many people that have to leave that office. They saw corruption 21 plus years. There is no way that we can turn this around with these old people. The old-timers don't change. And in the same time, these lawyers who used to have the in into the office, Mr. Schnitzler had a lawyer from Manhattan. All of a sudden, he changed into Izzy Fried. It looks like Izzy still has the whining and dining connection, so they let him walk away. They don't ask me. I only got the message this morning. This morning, the ADA calls me over before they go into court, and he says, listen, this is how the headquarters decided they should let him plead guilty and let him walk. So I said, I don't understand. Is there any doubt in anybody's mind that he's not guilty? I saw him. The liquor store across the street saw him. Everybody saw him. There's no doubt in anybody's mind that he's guilty. We don't need his plea. Let him plead not guilty and get on the stand. So for that, they let a person away. He almost blinded me. So I don't understand, Mr. Ken Thompson. Why are you worried about Mr. Tej Patterson? He was the one that was beat up, and he's blind on one eye. Why are you so worried? Why are you picking up those Shomrim people? So they made somebody blind on an eye? Mr. Schnitzler made me blind on an eye, too, for a few days. So just because the doctors were able to save the eye with God's help, does that mean that he should walk? So now we're going to find out how much it would cost a jail term for somebody that was blinded for one eye for the rest of his life. Maybe they'll get 2 weeks each. We are very upset, and we want to protest. We know we can't do anything because the dollar people and the power people are stronger than us. But we have to protest this. This is sending a message to the community. The strong people can do whatever they want. The money people can do whatever they want. The only guinea pigs that have to behave is the people who can't afford lawyers and the people who don't have political influence. It's unfortunate. We did really think that the change from Mr. Charles Hines to Mr. Ken Thompson would be a better change. It's unfortunate that this is the message that our community is receiving now. Now they're going to put in the newspapers, he is a hero. He's a courageous man. He did this to Rabbi Rosenberg that's fighting for the safety of the children. And everybody should learn they can do it again. Nothing is going to happen to you. You won't sit a day in jail. Now, it cost him money for lawyers. That money didn't cost him. It's the community who put together the money. In every synagogue, they went around collecting money that he should be freed. So money didn't cost him, and he's free to walk the streets. He's on 5 years probation, which I don't know exactly what he's obligated to do by law, but whether he will do it, that's a second question. And I also want you to know that Mr. Schnitzler's father is a first cousin with Baruch Mordechai Leibowitz and with Moses Friedman, the butler of the Zalmanites. So this is where we are. We changed drivers, we changed the DA, but the office is still the same office. So the same place, most people are the same, and the decisions are made according to politics and the power people. Unfortunately, I am as hurt as one can be for two reasons. One, when he poured bleach at me, he didn't pour it because Rabbi Rosenberg is in his way. He poured it because I am the liaison fighting for the children in this community and worldwide. And we moved very much forward. The awareness is here. It's unbelievable. Thank God. But if there's no punishment, we're going to fall right back. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Schnitzler did not do this on his own. He's the sexton. He's the leader in the synagogue on South 8, which is run by the Aaronites. He did it because the congregation pushed him to do it, because it was a day after Mr. Weberman got a sentence of 103 years. So he was doing work for the community, for his synagogue. So I was hurt because I tried to save the children. And he did it because the public pushed him to do it. So now what stops anybody to do it again? On the day they arrested those 5 people from Shomrim, the boys came out from the synagogue from Satmar and threw stones at me. Does that mean I have to leave the community and tell for all these pedophiles you can continue doing what you were doing because you ain't getting any punishment? This is a shame. Now, Rabbi Baruch Mordechai Leibowitz, which is also a cantor, he was supposed to be in court last week. They pushed it off until May the 7th. I wonder what's up the sleeve in the DA's office. I would not be surprised if he would walk away with 10 years probation. I would not be surprised. If Charles Hines would have been there, he would have walked away with 1 year probation. Now he might get a few more years probation. It's a shame. I want you to know, Brooklyn, we are paying taxes for the government. We have no say in the protection of children and in the protection of the community. Not a Jew, not a Gentile, not a white, and not a black has any way to be safe in Brooklyn. In the Green Line newspaper, it says that shooting on South 2nd Street wounds 4 boys. It says on Friday evening last month, a 12-year-old, 2 14-year-olds, a 17-year-old boy were shot in the legs on South 2nd Street and Roebling. So Brooklyn, it looks like they have no protection against shooting. They have no protection on the age of the children. Even their small children, they would get shot just like big ones. And in the same time, there is no protection for children against pedophiles. They're walking all with sweetheart deals. There is no protection against victims and witness intimidation. They're all walking with sweetheart deals. And where is this going to lead to? Mr. Ken Thompson, when you took in the Jewish liaison, I told you it's suicide. He's not here for your behalf. He's here for the rabbi's behalf. You didn't believe me. You thought it was good. And I said, we want to deal with the DA's office direct. And you did take a liaison. I would like to see the end of these Shomrim, what kind of sweetheart deal they'll get. And I would like to see the Cantor Rabbi Baruch Mordechai Leibowitz, what he would get, and I would like to see in the future, will anybody pay for their wrongdoings when they're abusing children or they are hurting witnesses and victims? Mr. Thompson, to be elected is a very good thing, but all it is a door opener. If you'll produce, you'll be fine. If you'll be the friends of these few Jewish molesters and rich people, then it'll be in the hands of the public to decide your future. And I'm sorry that I'm being so harsh, but I cannot take this with folded hands to let such a crook, a criminal that pours bleach in somebody's eyes, and he goes out and he says he didn't do it. When I saw him, he claims he never did it. He went into the synagogue and everybody was praising him. Not only that, you know what they told him? They said, next time you do it, you take acid to make him blind for sure, not no bleach. And now watch what the Jewish newspapers will say. The Yid and the Blatt. They will say, here goes the hero. Now I also want to understand, when Mr. Abe George was running to become elected, I was with him all the way because we knew the corruption of Mr. Charles Hines, and he said he was going to be my lawyer, and it was announced publicly. We didn't trust Mr. Charles Hines, so I figured I need a lawyer. But Mr. Charles Hines didn't allow that. He says, you'll get, for the DA, Mr. Farker. Now, the office has changed. Mr. Charles Hines is out. Mr. Ken Thompson is in. Abe George is also in the office. I definitely was hoping for justice. Now, what kind of justice did they give me? Nothing. In fact, this morning I found Mr. Abe George in the elevator, and I greeted him. He greeted me. Didn't even tell me that they have a prefabricated deal that Mr. Elimelech Schnitzler should walk like a hero without a day in jail. This is a joke if you ever saw one. I want to say, I don't have the connections to the FBI, but I would like to advise them they should get into that office now, not after years of corruption and then find out that everything went backwards. Now is the time. They should interview Mr. Schnitzler. They should interview the DA who fabricated this. And they should also find out why Mr. Schnitzler's previous lawyer was not able to get such a sweetheart deal. Only Mr. Izzy Fried, who is having all these pedophiles walk in the street. Something should be done right away. Because if we're going to wait a few years down the line, then it's big-time problems. With Mr. Charles Hines, we knew how to handle it. We knew we were in the jungle. We had to watch out for the snakes, for the lions, for the bears. But here, when we changed the DAs and we changed a lot of key figures, we really thought that we're not in the jungle. We're in the street. But we're not. And I don't understand. Mr. Patterson was blind on one eye, but after Mr. Elimelech Schnitzler threw the bleach at me, I was blind on both eyes. This is a joke that I've never heard and I didn't believe it. And if anybody would tell me this, I wouldn't even believe it. As usual, you get called from the DA, you go up, they have the courtesy to talk to you. Today, they had a deal already and I was only notified outside of court 5 minutes after we went in. It's unbelievable. I really feel the FBI should get involved in this case and should not let this go through, because otherwise, this is the beginning. All the cases will be the same way, unfortunately. Thank you, everybody, for listening.